This one's more of a comment than a question. It says, I'll not be using TRAC to begin with. I think I'll be limited by my problem areas and time available much more than recovery. I also like to go straight to the office and start my day without any sort of delay. If I get close to my volume limit, then I'll reconsider using TRAC. I think this is generally a less than ideal approach. If you start having recovery issues, then we don't have any sort of basis of comparison for TRAC. We don't know what your normal TRAC scores are, because we didn't collect them when things were normal. If you start collecting them now, then later on, if/when recovery becomes an issue, we'll be able to tell that. Now, TRAC doesn't necessarily have to have a baseline in order to operate, but it functions much better when you do. Also, in terms of time availability, in terms of your daily routine, wanting to go straight to the office, that's fine, and using TRAC doesn't necessarily have to limit that. As I've said in some previous coaching calls, so some of you will be familiar with this line of thinking. The heart rate test is not the main test that we focus on with TRAC anymore. It used to be, but it's not anymore. Now the main thing that we focus on are these subjective questions. And the subjective questions, they're not limited to first thing in the morning when you wake up. So if there's someone in your situation, I would recommend that you just skip the heart rate test altogether and just do the subjective questions. That gives us a ton of information, and it's not limited by first thing in the morning when you wake up. You can do it during a break. You can do it at lunchtime. You can do it 10 minutes before training. Ideally, you want to keep the time as consistent as you reasonably can, but it's not so sensitive to that as the heart rate test was. Truth be told, I have a little one now. My son's about 18 months old, and so he would seldom give me time to do the heart rate test in the morning if that's what I was still trying to do. So that would be a source of a lot of frustration to me. However, since I'm focusing mostly on those subjective questions, it's not really a problem. So I would recommend that you do the same thing, and that'll give you a lot of insight. It'll give me a lot of insight should you have any sort of a programming issue.